Welcome to a big episode. The big one. The number one. The BRS Replicant. Finally. So I've decided to review this damn thing that I always talk about, the number one in my book, and give it a score, quantify it, and then I can always refer to it, and then you guys can actually refer to this video and be like, alright, so that's the score that this thing got that he's always referring to, and then kind of give you more reference to what I'm comparing other knives to. So the BRS Replicant. This is a premium replicant. I think it's Gen 2 because it's more rounded, right? People say that Gen 1 was like the best of the best. Gen 2 and Gen 3 were more hit or miss. I don't know. I've had like 4 replicants. They all seemed good, but that's what I've heard in a lot of Reddits, Instagram, YouTube comments. But this thing is great. White, got the green anodization customized. Let's get into some of the specs because I wrote them down. Alright, so we got a 5.5-inch handle. I love long handles on a butterfly knife. 4.5-inch blade. It's a beautiful Tonto made by BRS. Not a common Tonto you ever see. 154 cm. To me, the blade steel doesn't really matter because you don't really use the replicant as a tool. This is a flipper, not a tool, in my opinion. It's 4.9 ounces, which is my perfect favorite weight for any knife because this is my favorite knife. So anything that's 4.9 ounces or around there is amazing. And I just wanted to compare it to some other knives. So you got a Tropos Spy knife, which I think is very similar to this. Similar length, a little shorter, a little heavier at 5.3 ounces, so it's actually 0.4 ounces heavier. With the Zen pins too, just very similar butterfly knife to me, which is why I think I like it so much. It's got a lot of handle bias, which the Replicant has a lot of handle bias, and I'm a big handle bias person because it lets you do chaplains like crazy. Comparing to the Benchmade 42, this is 4.1 ounces, which is like, what's that, 0.8 ounces less than this, almost a whole ounce. This thing's just a little bit too light for me. Not exactly what I like. I do plan on reviewing this in the future because I want to review some of the more famous butterfly knives. So let's get into the pros of my favorite butterfly knife of all time. Pros: weighs perfect. Perfect for doing so many tricks. It's got just a great center of gravity. Good handle bias, but not too handle bias. It's amazing at chaplains. I could chaplain this thing for hours for sure. Great for fanning like this. It just holds just the right weight to fan. Choker fans are amazing. Spins like crazy around your fingers. The inertia that this thing holds is great, and it is great for aerials. You just always know where it's going. Do these. Those are usually scary with knives with weird weights, but just flick it, grab it, and you got that. Okay, so the weight's perfect. The looks, love the look of this thing. I love the blade shape. I've never touched an alt rep. I've heard they might be better at flipping, but I can't bring myself to buy one because I would be missing this blade shape so much. The G10, this design is, I don't know what it is about it, it's perfect. So you know how I often do thumb rollovers, you pinch up at the tip like this, and these chevrons are just the perfect cutout for doing those kind of tricks. Like, you just hold it perfectly. And then this little center area in the middle is great for just holding it, like, and then you can grip it, spin it around for fans. And then these holes, I haven't really found use for these yet, but they still provide grip somewhere. This provides grip down here too, these little cutouts. This is just one of the best feeling butterfly knives to flip ever. I swear to God. Yes, I'm gonna be just loving this butterfly knife throughout this whole review. There are some cons, sure. I'm trying to think of more pros. Since you've got the liners, you can both anodize the liners and the spacers, and then the scales are a different color, so you can customize these like crazy because there's so many different colors. There's purple, there's blue, what else is there? There's gray, white, black. There's also the selects, which are really cool. It'll be black with like different colors woven into them. There's the tiger, there's the killer bee. There are so many replicants. I will get into some of the cons right now. So one of the cons is this hardware is kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, being sandwiched with liners on top of the scales, or liners below the scales. There are a lot of moving parts when you are assembling and disassembling this thing, and that can lead to like losing screws, stripping screws, just a lot of work to tune this thing, in my opinion. Another thing is these barrel spacers. I do have an issue with these barrel spacers. They love to just spin when you're trying to screw things in. Big pain in the ass when trying to assemble and disassemble. Another thing, which is only something I've heard from online, I actually haven't experienced this myself, but people have said that beyond Generation 1, the replicants were actually inconsistent. They said that they've had good ones and bad ones. I have not personally experienced that, but I have definitely heard it a lot online. To be surprised if it wasn't true. But I won't personally attest to it. I will attest to saying that I have heard that a lot, which, I don't know, take that as you will, but those are the only negatives I can think of. I mean, with all that obsession over this knife, it's time to give it its score. Ergonomics, 9 out of 10. These handles are just amazing to grip. Perfect in every way. The only way that this would get a 10 is just maybe like some jimping on this, so you could use it as a tool, which again, I said people don't often use this as a tool, but a 10 out of 10 would have to be like the perfect handle ever with perfect jimping. This is almost perfect, so it's a 9 out of 10. Flippability, obvious answer, 10 out of 10. Easily best butterfly knife I've ever flipped. Just moves like fluid in my hands. Just no matter what I do, it'll do anything I ask of it. Of course, I'm not going to do anything crazy because this is a nice table that I don't want to break. And then, so looks, I gave that a 9 out of 10. This is a beautiful butterfly knife. Gets gunked up with crap. I'm gonna actually clean this up soon. So it's a 9 out of 10 because it is beautiful, very striking. Not a 10 out of 10 because that's just like upper echelon, like this. But it's a 9 out of 10, beautiful knife. Materials and finish, giving that an 8 out of 10. It has pretty good blade steel. Titanium, I love titanium. The G10 is amazing. G10 on top of titanium is the best type of butterfly knife I have ever flipped. It's better than a raw titanium because your fingers don't get sticky and then stick to it, sweaty and stick to it, you know? But it's not totally 10 because of that inconsistencies that I have heard of, and also because the hardware is really a huge pain in the ass to deal with when you are disassembling and reassembling. I've never had a replicant that was easy to do maintenance on. And that leads to the highest score yet of a 36 out of 40. Just absolutely a beast of a butterfly knife. One of the best things you'll ever get. I highly recommend this. If you can find one, buy one. One of the best designs ever made for flipping. It really doesn't get better than this. I always, whenever I get a new butterfly knife, I'm like, I want something to beat the Replicant, because this has seriously been my favorite ever since like the day it came out back in the early 2010s. And it was like, nothing has ever surpassed it. What has gotten close to it? This has gotten pretty close, but not quite. The OSP Matrix was really good, but it wasn't this, just wasn't quite this. Even the Alpha Beast, they taunt, BRS taunts their Alpha Beast as like, you know, their best knife that they have, their most premium, and it might be really premium, but it's not as good as their Replicant, which is cheaper. Okay, enough of me doing that. And I wanted to also take a second just to thank you guys. I'm gonna flip while I say this. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I've made an insane amount of subscribers over the past 1 month compared to where I was before that month, because since I've put in more effort, I've almost tripled my channel subscribers, and my views have increased. I just want to thank you. I'm on the road to 500 subscribers, and I want to say I will do a special video for that. I plan on doing a Balisong tier list of every single Balisong I've ever owned, which is quite a bit. I want to say it's maybe up to like 20. So I will love to do that. You got like the Microtech Tachyon I've had, a Benchmade 42, a 47. What are some weird ones? The OSP Matrix I've had, Alpha Beast, 62, Benchmade 62. I'm just telling you, it's a lot of butterfly knives. And I'd love to do a tier list of every single one and describe each one, give you my ranking. So peace.